There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Battle lines being drawn, and nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their mind and getting so much resistance from behind. It's time we stopped. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. What a field day for the heat. 1,000 people in the street, singing songs and carrying signs, mostly say hooray for our side. It's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Hello, everybody. News done differently. News for the rest of us. Connecting the dots. We're going to be doing that. Going to be doing that very, very quickly because we've got the flag back up behind us. We are under duress in our country, and it's time we stopped and said, hey, what's this sound? And took a look at what's going down. A lot of strange stuff happening. Let's just get into it here. This evening, this came 2 hours ago. This evening, a very destructive derecho is tearing across the central United States, bringing hurricane force winds, gusts over 100 miles per hour, blinding hababs and even tornadoes. Hababs, hurricane blob, habab, 100-mile-an-hour wind, hail, and all of that is ripping through the center of our country, center of the United States anyway. Thank you for those watching outside of the United States. I appreciate everybody watching. I really, truly do. North Korea, one of our major reconnaissance planes that's dedicated to watching the North Koreans is up in the air again tonight. It's never really a good sign when it's out monitoring activity. Starbucks raised prices after reporting a 31% increase in profits. Same with Tyson, who's posted $1 billion in profits this last quarter, a 48% increase from the first quarter of 2021. There's part of your inflation right there. The fact that we are, as my book says, America, land of the greed, home of the grave. And unfortunately, that grave part may be coming to many too soon. And we'll get to that. As the title of the episode says, message received. I'll tell you about that. Disney just announced that their theme park revenue more than doubled last quarter, despite Ron DeSantis and Republicans' war against them. So not everybody is lined up in crazy town, but too many are. After removing possible in-person opinions release sessions from this month's calendar, the Supreme Court of the United States has now set an online-only opinion release for Monday, May 16th at 10 a.m. So Monday at 10 a.m., that's when it's anticipated that Roe v. Wade will officially be overturned. Now, I mentioned North Korea just a couple of short stories ago, and then we're keeping an eye on them because it looks like they're preparing not nuclear, but they're preparing a missile test, and we want to make sure what kind of missile it is and that indeed it's not nuclear. At the same time, we reported last night North Korea had one case of COVID and they locked down the entire country. Today, they reported 4 hours ago, more than 18,000 new cases and 6 deaths. So North Korea, as we said last night, first of all, I thought the little bastard would go into the bunker because of COVID and wouldn't have a missile test, but logic doesn't always preclude judgments, especially in fascist run dictatorships like North Korea. But we got to remember that those at the top, those that, again, we might hold justifiable angst against, are not the people that are going to be really suffering. And because it's North Korea, because they're North Korean, we forget that they are human. We forget that they are people. And that's part of what propaganda does. A lot of people, a lot of innocent people are going to die. And nobody's going to care because it's North Korea, because of their leadership. And it takes the human element out of it when we think of them as less. And that's certainly not a Christian thing to do. Or a human thing to do. Russia began to pull troops to the border with Finland. Why does that matter? Well, Finland and Russia share a very long border, as we can see here from our map. All of this is Russian territory. All of this is part of Russia. And again, Finland and Russia share a very large map. Finland is just about to join NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, as is Sweden. Norway's already a member. And if that's the case, then Latvia, Estonia, Finland, everybody's lined up against Russia. Russia's starting to get worried about it. They're putting their troops along the Finnish border. I've been saying this for a long time. If you watch the show, you know that's true. But there's a recording of an oligarch close to Putin saying, quote, he's very ill and the cancer spread to his blood. If this is indeed true, which we assume it is, then it's just another situation where what does he do? Does he decide that if he can't live, nobody can? After what we've seen in Ukraine, he has very little value for anyone else's life. We've talked about it. He's left his soldiers in Ukraine and won't accept their bodies back because he'd have to pay the next of kin for being killed in the line of duty. It's something that, as we've said for months now, we can't put out of our head. We cannot not think that anything will never happen, including where we're heading after we get through the news. This is the gentle congresswoman from Colorado. Pardon me.
Because extremists are scared of what? Elon Musk? They think social media censor doesn't go far enough, and this needs to be defunded.
No longer recognized to do here. And unlike some of our colleagues on the other side, we're not interested in censoring other people's speech. We want the whole world to see how the gentlelady from Colorado speaks in public as a member of Congress. We want everyone to look at that. Meantime,
there was a time, and I'm not condemning waitresses, basically she's a waitress at a diner. Do you want the waitress from Denny's going to Congress? Not that you can't climb out from working at Denny's. I mean, I've done a lot of things, okay? But the lack of civility, the lack of respect that these Trump syncopaths bring on a consistent basis should be a warning sign to any of you that consider yourselves Republicans second and Americans first. And I don't mean America first. I said Americans. There's a big difference, as we'll get to. And I've got another story about the gentle Congresswoman from Colorado coming up in just a second. Actually, here it is now. These are her personal records. This is every file on her computer. Anonymous said that if they voted to do away with the privacy of a woman, that they were fair game. And it didn't take long. She's got 1,468 emails, her personal info as of yesterday, her funny jokes, her contact, or her texts from yesterday, her Google file drives, signatures to sign in, her search history. The things aren't going to play out exactly as we think. This is from Steve Smith, and pardon me, this keeps. I'm getting through this as quick as I possibly can. This is from Steve Smith, and Steve Smith worked for John McCain, and he worked for Dick Cheney, Vice President Dick Cheney, and so he was a hardcore Republican. Here's where he's at now. I'm not afraid of any of these people. I will not be afraid of these people. The whole fetid lot of liars, weirdos, loons, militias, religious nuts, fascists, and conspiracy theorists, all of them need to understand something. The rest of us are holding the line, and we aren't taking one more effing step backwards to accommodate this insanity. Not one. The exhausted majority is what I'm part of. It's got Republicans, it's got Democrats, it's got independents, it's got new voters and new citizens. It's made up of people of all faiths, creeds, religion, and no religion at all. It is common sense based, and we are sick of the BS and will not allow a belligerent minority to hijack our country, our families, our kids, our faiths, our communities, our unity, our liberty, our bodies, and our future. Never. Very strong words. They're going to be put to the test, in my opinion, as you're about to see. This is Nick Fuentes, for those that don't know. He's the racist groper. He's the leader of the racist groper movement. Young man that looks like he might ought to, never mind, we won't go there. The Groper Army, a loose network of alt-right figures, vocal supporters of white supremacists and America First, okay? There's a difference between Americans First and America First, all right? America First was hijacked, as we showed you last night, by the Ku Klux Klan way back. And don't think that these people don't know that and don't know its roots. One why does this matter? Well, this group is building a coalition with the far right, anti-Semitic and racist Catholic wing. RAHOWA, the racial Christian holy war. Here's our friend, not our friend. Here's the demon possessed. And after he did that, see, he was declaring bankruptcy. He was facing all these charges. How was he going to pay all these people off? You know, so that there wouldn't be any of these charges, because he told a lie that their kids hadn't been massacred in a school shooting to make money. How's he going to do that? Well, I don't know if it's all coincidence, or if you're a spiritual person, you're going to know the answer. We showed that demon possessed video that he did. And how he was praising his God and asking his God to do things to people, and showing at the very end his God was Satan. 2 days later, he had a $1 million anonymous donation, 1 million in Bitcoin, which we'll get to in a minute as well, from Russia, traced back to Russia. 2 days after that, another $1 million traced back to Russia. Where's all this money coming from all these people that are doing all these seemingly evil things? I'm a spiritual person, so you can probably figure out my thoughts on it. If you're not a spiritual person, then don't look at it from that realm. Just listen to this.
And supporting our guest, because everybody we have on is fighting with everything they've got. This is a war against you and your family of inflation and collapse. And they know everybody's going to wake up in the midst of it. That's why they want to silence the leaders, because they think they can then defeat you. So when you keep us in the fight, you keep yourself in the fight, and this is life and death. So go to InfoWarsStore.com and get amazing products, and sign up for auto ship and continue support. Make a donation at the top, and go to.
Okay, I'm sorry about chuckling, because this isn't really funny at all. He's telling everybody that watch him to rise up. Okay, it's time for them to rise up. It's all out war. It's us and them. They've declared it multiple times on multiple platforms. And I'm not sure that enough people are actually paying attention to it. But you'll notice the only way you can fight the evil Democrats is to send money and buy products, okay? The only way, let's listen to him again.
Donation at the top, and go to the Stone Defense Fund and make a donation to him, because he's a gladiator and a champion in the fight. And if you don't support us, you're helping the enemy. And I'm not.
Okay, we're going to get you all fired. It's just like QAnon. Okay, QAnon does the same thing. You know, they get the people all fired up, wanting war, wanting to kill, wanting, you know, anything, anybody doesn't look like them, think like them, are the enemy. And then there are the rest of us, okay? But not only do they want to get them all riled up, they want to get their money too. You know, hey, if you're not buying our products, you're supporting the enemy. That's not my words, that's his words verbatim. Just something to think about. QAnon did the same thing. And they are at the point right now where message received. Trump gave him the green light last night with his MAGA king. You know, people looked at it as a joke, and yeah, Biden called him the MAGA king. Okay. The return of the MAGA king was the green light, as far as they're concerned. That's how they've interpreted it, regardless of whether Trump was making a joke or not. To them, message received, their go. Now, the grift there in the QAnon thing was they sold these bonds that said this is the only way you're going to have any money after the Great Reset, after everything breaks down. Unless you buy these bonds from us, you won't have any money. And of course, there are no bonds. They grifted the people. But anyway, just something to think about. Just another thing to think about. This is an oldie but a goodie. Keep your eyes peeled for Democrats coming to take your guns while they take Social Security and Medicare. We could add public education. We could add a woman's right to privacy. Everyone's right to privacy. Once they get rid of a woman's right to choose, which is basically a right to privacy. You shouldn't have any business in anybody's medical concerns. The government damn well shouldn't, in my opinion, and in a lot of opinions. But it's not going to end there, okay? It's not going to end there because it's about control. Just something to think about. CNN are reporting that the Department of Justice has obtained encrypted January 6th signal text messages involving Roger Stone, Alex Jones, Ali Alexander, and the Oath Keepers' plans for the day. How this happened, according to my sources, one of the Oath Keepers threw his telephone into the Atlantic Ocean so that it couldn't be traced. It couldn't be, none of the communication could be intercepted or anything. GPS, they tracked the phone in the ocean. They found the phone, presented it in court earlier, and all those messages are there. Alex Jones is mad. He wants you to go to war for him. He wants you to buy his products too, but he wants you to go to war for him, because if they don't go to war, all these people are going to go to jail if there's justice. And that includes Trump. Now everybody's saying Merrick Garland's not doing anything. They're going to let him off because he was, he used to be president. He's not in power anymore. They're not that stupid. Merrick Garland is PO'd, all right? He was supposed to be a Supreme Court justice, but Mitch McConnell wouldn't bring the nomination forward. They said it was too close to the end of Barack Obama's term, whereas they put Amy Coney Barrett on when Trump was a lame duck and was already gone. Just something to think about. The things that are happening now, they're happening while Democrats have control over everything. What do you think is going to happen if the Republicans do get control back, whether it be through the ballot box or whether it be through insurrection? And sadly, as you're going to find out here in just a few minutes, as I said, people didn't take the thing seriously last night. They put out all this kind of stuff. Now this, however, this is a real deal thing. This is something Trump had made up for his, it was a birthday invite to a party sometime in the 80s. Trump, Lord of the Financial Jungle, with his head imposed on somebody's body. I'm Tarzan, I'm assuming, with, grab her by the, that's what Groper's all about too, by the way, that white men have the privilege to grope anybody and anything they want. Another word that you might hear is CHLAN. You won't hear it, you'll see it, maybe. It's one of these code things, you know, it's like, let's go Brandon, which is actually F Joe Biden. Take the red pill, which is, you know, be a man, stand up and destroy anything and everything that doesn't think or look exactly like you. CHLAN. You can probably sound it out. And yeah, it's being used a lot in print. Just in case you weren't with us last night, this was sent out by Donald J. Trump on Truth Social, the return of the great MAGA king. And that puts us where we're at now with message received. There's, I don't know, 3 or 4 different QAnon directed videos that's what they begin with. They begin with message received, hellfire is coming, it's finally here. So what's all that actually mean? Well, as we've shown here, the Roe v. Wade decision is coming Monday at 10 a.m. There are just the Planned Parenthood alone, their action fund. They are having bans off our bodies rallies. These are in Indiana, all March 14th, that's Saturday. Just in Indiana, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 in Indiana, Cincinnati, Dayton. I'm sure there's something's going to happen in Indianapolis. It's just not being organized by Planned Parenthood or promoted by Planned Parenthood, but I'm sure something will be happening in Indianapolis. The reason I can say that is because there are going to be 370 different protests throughout the United States on May 14th. Washington, D.C. begins at noon, and then their actual march, they begin gathering at noon at the Washington Monument. Then they're actually marching starting at 2. I've been told that the call is for somewhere around 15,000 people to be in Washington, D.C. for that rally. The call is for 1 million people to be in New York City at 2 p.m. on the 14th of May. I'm sure that activities are going to be going on in all major cities. And that puts us to where we're at. Activities going on in all major cities. Peaceful activities by protesters, predominantly women. They're going to be met by counter-protesters. In Washington, D.C., the People's Convoy is supposed to be riding into town, and they're coming into town with teeth and a backbone, they say. How can this all work? How can they actually do what they want to do? And what they want to do is they want to make Trump king. Okay. Not all of them that are going along with this are going to want to make Trump king. Once he's king, then they realize, oh shit, we're effed. How do they do it? Well, they reactivate the right, which isn't hard, but they have done that. Check, reactivate the right. Message received, green light, let's go. When and where? Saturday, where? Anywhere close to you. Violence, false flags, doing things and blaming it on the other side. Terror, things that we may not even imagine. Just unloading, mass shooting, just because it's not their body and because you're less than they are. Man, I hope I'm wrong about all of this. I hope none of this happens. It's just all set up to happen. And this is their plan. Chaos, create chaos. So and it's going to be this Saturday, these demonstrations are going to be everywhere. There'll be counter demonstrations everywhere. Not all of them are going to be violent. Not all of them are going to be attacks. It doesn't take all of them. It just takes enough. And that is my deepest concern at this moment and will be until Saturday night, when hopefully we look back on this and say absolutely nothing happened. But I'm not predicting. This isn't prophecy. This is connecting the dots. This is looking at how everything is set up and how it is set up to play out. And the way it's set up to play out is violence, terror, confrontations, not only politically to take away from January 6th, but also to create chaos. The police are called in, the military, the National Guard. Whose side are they on? That's the tipping point between democracy and fascism. And no, I'm not being extreme. That is where our country's at. Something's happening here. We better stop. Hey, what's that sound? We better look around and see what's going down. Steve Smith, the guy we read his quote, he sees it. It's a small, fascist, weirdo, greedy, narcissistic, privileged group, and they are a minority. But yet, they don't believe that way. They don't feel that way. And violence and power are what they see going together. They've been screaming for it. They've been screaming for it to happen, and now they are pumped. And it's going to happen. Just a matter of the outcome. And I hope we stay together as a country. I hope the police do the right thing and respect the Constitution and the laws. But we saw on January 6th, some of them didn't. At least some of them didn't. We hope the military puts Americans first. I hope they're loyal to the country and not to the minority mob, the real true extremists. Remember, we talk a lot about on here about the rules of propaganda. You blame the enemy for that which you are doing. You tell a lie big enough, and often enough, people will believe it. The truth is the enemy of the lie, because the lie is what keeps people in power. They are a minority. We cannot let them become a cancer that cannot be removed. Whose side are they on? All these things continue, all right? something's going to happen Saturday. That doesn't mean something's going to happen every day of the week. That just means something's going to happen Saturday. It's going to grow from that. When and where, I don't know. This isn't prophecy. This isn't predictions. This is analysis. Things will happen Saturday that will trigger things that will happen down the road and will continue to happen and continue to happen until either it's stopped or chaos ensues. And the only way you can end the chaos is putting Trump in as king. That is their plan. I know it's ludicrous. I know it's absurd, but they believe it and they are prepared to make it happen. Can we stop them? And are we prepared to stop them? Or do we meaning the rest of us, do we not even see it coming? Who benefits from all this? Who benefits from chaos in the United States right now? Vladimir Putin and Russia, Xi and China. They both got their hands full of a lot of things at the moment, weakening the United States from within, check mark on both of their accounts. And the people doing it, or that would be doing it or will be doing it, they believe that they are saving America. They do not see that they are on a path to attempt to destroy America, to weaken America. They don't see that. Battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Both sides are going to think they're right when all this happens. And nobody's right because we should all be together. We should be one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty, with justice for all. That's not where we're at. I'm going to close with this. Saturday, of course, we'll be monitoring. We'll be monitoring throughout the day, various locations. I'm not sure if I'm going to be live all day. Let me know what you think about that. But I will be monitoring. We will be doing updates at the very least, okay? If you are going to protest, and I imagine a lot of you are. I imagine a lot of you are. If you're going to protest, be prepared. Be prepared. Head on a swivel. Escape routes. Don't get cornered. Don't go by yourself. Have a gas mask. Have goggles. If you got a helmet, have a helmet. You got body armor, have body armor. Have water, have snacks. Have a small container of milk, just in case you get tear gas in your eyes. I've been in a few of these. 2016, Philadelphia, Democratic National Convention. That was the last one. I'm too old for this stuff. Maybe. I'm trying to figure out if there's one close enough that I can cover. I haven't seen what's happening in India yet. I may be doing that. I may go out and live stream what's happening here. I don't know. We'll see. We got 48 hours for me to decide that. We've got enjoy tomorrow. I don't think anything's going to happen tomorrow. I could be totally wrong, but enjoy tomorrow, because I think Saturday is going to be a dark day in our country. I really, truly hope I'm wrong. I really, truly hope I'm wrong. But everything lines up. Everything lines up. And if Trump and Putin are indeed talking, as Trump has alluded to, it could be a day that is bad for Europe. You know, they end the war with Ukraine by stopping the rest of the world from helping, or they nuke. And Ukraine is too big for them to take without nuclear weapons. If Putin and Trump are talking, and we know Russia has said on their newscasts, we need to help get our friend back in power before 2024. Putin's dying, and he doesn't want to go down the way he's going down right now, getting his butt kicked by Ukraine. He wants to go down glorious. France is trying really hard to stay on the good side of Ukraine, or the good side of Russia, because I think France understands that they're going to get nuked. Great Britain's going to get nuked. France is going to get nuked. Poland will probably get nuked. And then it's a matter of North Korea will probably try to nuke us, just because it's, you know, what he's always claimed. I hope we don't ever get to that point, but it could all happen Saturday. I hope nothing happens. I'm gonna pray for nothing to happen. I'm just really concerned that we've been right too often when all the numbers have lined up. Thanks for watching. Message has been received. Hopefully they don't act on it, but at least now we know they get the message. Hope enough of us get the message. I hope the police are on the right side. I hope the military's on the right side, and I hope all of them go to jail. And I hope you hope that too. I love y'all. Thank you for watching all of this. We'll be back. Dark Order, try to be a light. Let's get this flag flipped up, right side up. Instead of our country being in distress and on the verge of civil war, let's get on the verge of progress and making America what it was always intended to be. Land of the free, home of the brave, with liberty and justice for all of us. I love you all.